Last night in spectacular style. It was the culmination of the 3-week-long Hero Festival. Here's John Vors.
Through Auckland's main street, thousands marched to a different beat last night. A celebration of gay and lesbian lifestyle, more showbiz than statement.
Why don't you come out and fucking laugh when I do it?
Thousands cheered them on, even the long arm of the law let loose. From lesbian bikers to gay cowboys, the parade marking the end of the 3-week-long Hero Festival. Organisers hope that this street parade becomes as popular as Sydney's gay Mardi Gras. That festival brings in thousands of tourists and millions of dollars each year. After the march, an all-night dance party, complete with free condoms and advice on safe sex and how to use drugs.
This is who we are, this is our culture, this is what we rejoice in.
12 hours on and the party had taken its toll.
Everybody had a lovely time. Did you have a lovely time?
And they'll do it all again next year. John Vors, One Network News.
A party in Auckland over the weekend. Not exactly big news, except that up to 7,000 people went to the party, up to 6,000 watched the parade, and about $70,000 was raised for HIV/AIDS prevention. Saturday night was, of course, the culmination of the Hero Festival, celebrating gay and lesbian living. Our editor Mike Brown and our cameraman Peter Mayo went along to put together this Nightline special report.
Has traditionally always followed the theme of a journey, and it started off as a party to fundraise for gay men with AIDS. It then became more of a community event, and it's just grown and grown and grown, and now it's turned into this sort of huge extravaganza. Very much, I mean, I think we're now working along the lines of a Sydney Mardi Gras. We're up to that scale now.
It's a pretty amazing thing getting all these people together, and a hell of a lot of people do so much work for nothing. And it's also sort of an opportunity to pass on skills to newer people and younger people. With our show, it's very sort of camp, colourful, geometric-y, sort of playing on 50s images and the old sci-fi things. It's sort of just quite wild and crazy with a bit of a message in there.
It's just a celebration of gay and lesbian diversity, basically, showing the community that we're out there and we're not abnormal or strange or queer, and we're just having a really good time.
The piece about transformations, about growing and evolving and becoming something much more astounding than what we already are. And it's getting that sense of community that the Hero Party is all about. And using that as a tool this night, as a beginning, each year reaffirming our community, our strength, our pride, our vision of the future.
Great bash.
So a lot of money raised.
Enormous amount of money.
Coming up after the break.
Time for a worthy cause last night at Auckland's Hero Party 1994. Usually held on the Waitemata waterfront, Organisers found their annual event conflicted with the Whitbread village, so they moved up the hill to the showgrounds. The theme this year was positive futures and positive visions within the gay community. Money collected from ticket sales goes to the AIDS Foundation.
All right, well, Mayor Tim may be in trouble with the moral majority for his uninhibited heterosexual friskiness, but the religious right has also got its dander up about the gay community's antics. In the wake of the weekend's Gay Hero Festival, the Christian Heritage Party is calling for it to be banned. Around 13,000 people, 300 of them from overseas, joined in the celebrations, but Christian Heritage says it shouldn't be allowed. And it also calls on the government to abandon attempts to woo gay Aussie tourists to New Zealand.
There was flesh galore on show down Queen Street. Lesbians and gays relishing the chance to flaunt their sexual orientation to an appreciative audience, including many heterosexuals. Hero is an annual event for Auckland, but the parade was a new addition and proved a big draw card. The procession was a lively build-up to the $40 a head Hero party, which attracted 7,000 people. Last year, the event raised $70,000. This year, the figure should be similar. The money will go to HIV and AIDS services in Auckland. Organisers say Hero not only helps to save lives, but boosts gay self-esteem and community pride. In future, it might become a trans-Tasman or even trans-Pacific tourist attraction. The organisers say they'll start marketing the festival overseas. And although it'll never be as big as the Sydney Mardi Gras, which annually generates $38 million for that city, it could be a gay event to reckon with. Leanne Malcolm, 3 National News.
Well, joining us now from Auckland, the man who organised the Hero Festival, Scott Johnston, and from Christchurch, Christian Heritage leader, the Reverend Graham Capel. First, Graham Capel, what's your objection to something like the Hero Festival?
Well, what it really is doing is it's bringing into the public arena a public orgy, a sexual orgy, where people parade half-dressed with sexual overtones, and it's lowering the moral fibre of our nation. Now, I think in the International Year of the Family that we want to see decency, we want to see good principles and standards, and this sort of thing actually lowers them and attacks the very foundations of law.
But who's it really hurting? I mean, if a bunch of gay people want to get together and others want to get together and have a party like that, I mean, is it really damaging you or me or anyone else?
Oh, absolutely it is. It's damaging the next generation who are busy watching this sort of thing. Of course, if it was done in private, that would be one thing, but to go parading down our main streets, showing this sort of thing to all ages and attracting all sorts of attention from the media, then of course it's damaging to the next generation.
Well, let's find out from the man who organised the Hero Festival, Scott Johnston, there in Auckland. Scott, I mean, are you responsible for this level of moral degeneracy? Do you accept the argument that you may be bringing the whole of society down with you in the festival?
Oh, absolutely not, Bill. Hero is about celebrating same-sex love, and what we're just trying to do is celebrate the love between two men and the love between two women, and we have every right to go out into the streets and express that love. I don't think anybody's going to become gay because they see us going down the streets and doing that. We're not perverting.
Well, that was what Graham Capel called it.
I totally disagree with that. It's not about an orgy. It is about just love. It's about celebrating who we are, our culture. That's what we're celebrating, how we like to express ourselves.
Graham Capel, how do you react to that?
Well, when it comes to heterosexuals, we don't go celebrating our culture and the sexual side of it down the streets of Christchurch or Auckland or any other city. We're quite content for that to be a private matter, and yet when it comes to the homosexual community, they want to go out and parade it. They want to force it down on other people. They have an agenda. It's a culture. It's not just a sexuality.
Well, Scott, is that a point that you can accept? I mean, why does the gay community have to be so provocative?
No, it's not. It's just who we are. We just want to express our lives like this. It's like, you know, what Mr. Capel is trying to do is try to impose his principles, his moral standings on us, and I totally object that. That's not valid as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, Mr. Capel, I mean, Reverend Capel, is Scott Johnson, who has organised this festival, any worse of a person for doing that? Because he's raised thousands of dollars for AIDS sufferers and done a lot to help people who are dying. I mean, how can you say he and others like him who have organised this festival are so bad?
Well, I think we need to put the economic argument into the formula because a lot's been made of that. I can't believe that we're prepared to sell out traditional values in this nation for the sake of getting a few tourist dollars.
But what about a bit of Christian tolerance here? I mean, you are a Christian. We do tolerate people of other, or should tolerate people of other attitudes and ideas, and just live together in harmony. If they want to be gay, if gay tourists want to come, why not?
Well, I think we certainly are tolerant of people, and I've got on very well with homosexuals in the past, both here in Christchurch and with some who are friends. But that doesn't mean that we condone their practices, and their practices are wrong. They are morally different to that of our Christian country, and I think we need to get back to those traditional values so that we have a secure, strong, safe place in this country.
Well, Scott, what would you say to Graham Capel, having heard his arguments?
Well, who says they're wrong? Like, obviously Mr. Capel, but the majority of people in New Zealand, through the last opinion polls with the anti-discrimination law, has said that the majority of people are quite happy with gay people to have the same rights as heterosexual people. It's like, you know, don't judge us. What you're trying to do is put basically a layer of hatred on us. And
well, I don't think it's hatred at all. I think that the majority of people don't like these sorts of practices, and they certainly don't like using taxpayers' money to sponsor homosexuals to come to New Zealand.
Okay, gay people get brought up in a society that is basically homophobic, and they come out with very low self-esteem. Hero is about improving their self-esteem. And with safe sex practices, with low self-esteem, it leads to unsafe sex practices. So what we're trying to do is raise the self-esteem of people so that therefore practice safe sex. That's really important. And what you're doing is denigrating gays and lesbians throughout New Zealand and lowering their self-esteem, and that's very dangerous. It's a fact that gay men commit suicide 3 times higher than their heterosexual counterparts, and a lot of that stems from listening to people like yourself on TV, John Banks waffling, all that sort of nonsense.
Graham Capel, how do you respond to that? Because it sounds like you could be pushing hatred and even death for some of these people.
No, not at all. I mean, we've always said that there is room to change. I mean, perhaps our very system of law now, as it stands, is saying that these people can't change, that they've got this condition from birth and there's no hope. That will lead to suicide. But what we're saying is that they perfectly can change, and that we should give them the opportunity to do that.
Graham Capel, thank you very much for your time. And Scott, thank you very much. By the way, how much did you raise for AIDS sufferers?
About $70,000.
Good effort, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's all from me tonight, so.